Is your diet sabotaging your brain? By age 65, around 10% of people are diagnosed with dementia. In the next few years, that figure skyrockets. Unfortunately, many people unwittingly eat foods that increase their risk of dementia every day. Today, we're counting down 9 foods scientifically linked to dementia, as well as better options that support your brain and reduce your risk. Now, our first item isn't exactly a food, but it's extremely important: BPA. Before you heat leftovers in a plastic container or reach for that can of soup, ask yourself, is this container releasing chemicals into my food? BPA, or bisphenol A, is used in many plastics and in the linings of metal cans. When these containers are exposed to heat or become scratched, BPA can leach into your food. BPA acts as an endocrine disruptor by mimicking estrogen, throwing off your natural hormone balance. The hormone signals in your brain become confused, impairing the delicate network of neurons in your brain. It's not obvious at the time, but very serious. So when storing food, use BPA-free plastics, glass or stainless steel containers, and never ever heat plastic containers in the microwave. Likewise, it's best to avoid canned foods. Use fresh or frozen fruits and vegetables instead. Most of all, stay away from canned soup. As we'll get to shortly, it's not just the BPA that's a problem here. At number 8, certain fish can be great for your brain, but not high mercury fish. Mercury builds up in fish over time, especially in those that live long, hunt other fish, or dwell near the bottom where toxins settle. This metal comes from industrial pollution and even natural sources, but when it accumulates in fish, it becomes dangerous. Mercury is a powerful neurotoxin that messes with your nerve cells, speeding up cognitive decline. So avoid high mercury fish like shark, swordfish, king mackerel, tilefish, big eye tuna, and marlin. Instead, choose low mercury options. Salmon, sardines, trout, and cod not only keep mercury levels in check, but also deliver a healthy dose of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s support brain cell function, reduce inflammation, and help maintain a clear, sharp mind. Eating plenty of quality fish is doubly important as you age. They're one of the best sources of protein and trace minerals, important for keeping your musculoskeletal system working properly. That means better balance, less risk of falls, and improved blood sugar control. Next, many people think that bread is harmless, but refined carbohydrates are trouble. Bread, pasta, pastries, and other carb-heavy foods are dietary staples for most people. But these refined carbohydrates are stripped of their natural fiber and nutrients during processing, leaving behind something that hits your bloodstream like pure sugar. Every time you eat these foods, your blood sugar spikes dramatically, then crashes. This creates a metabolic roller coaster that your brain absolutely hates. A study of older adults found that those who got more than 58% of their daily calories from carbohydrates had nearly double the risk of dementia. Think about that. Double the risk just from eating too many carbs. This isn't just about blood sugar spikes. Your brain actually changes how it processes energy when constantly exposed to high carb loads. It becomes less efficient at using glucose for fuel, creating a vicious cycle that accelerates cognitive decline. If it's made with wheat flour, it's probably harming your brain. Even the baked goods labeled whole grain. Instead, try baking with almond flour or coconut flour. These alternatives are not only lower in carbs, but also rich in nutrients that support brain health. At number 6, deep fried foods. That crispy coating on your fried chicken might taste delicious, but it's delivering a hidden dose of brain-damaging trans fats. When oils are heated to high temperatures, they create trans fats, nasty compounds that your body was never designed to process. These fats clog your arteries, reducing blood flow to the brain. Trans fats also trigger a cascade of inflammation throughout your body, affecting everything from joint health to memory to mood regulation. Many people don't realize that chronic inflammation can lead to depression and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle that affects both mental and cognitive health. Instead of deep frying, try air frying, baking, or grilling. These methods preserve flavor while protecting your brain. At number 5, sugar is sabotaging your brain with every crystal. Most people think of sugar as a diet problem. Too much and you gain weight. But that's only part of the story. Sugar doesn't just sit on your waistline, it gets into your bloodstream, wreaking havoc at a cellular level. And the scariest part? It hijacks your metabolism, pushing you towards insulin resistance, one of the most dangerous precursors to disease. When you eat sugar, your body releases insulin to help shuttle glucose into your cells for energy. Eat too much sugar, and your cells start resisting insulin signals. This leads to chronically high blood sugar and insulin resistance, which fuels weight gain, fatigue, and eventually diabetes. And your brain can develop insulin resistance too. That's right, scientists called Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes. It's the same metabolic breakdown, but instead of causing obesity, it leads to memory loss, cognitive decline, and eventually dementia. A 2013 study in the New England Journal of Medicine followed thousands of people and found that even a small increase in blood sugar was associated with a significantly higher risk of dementia, even in people without diabetes. It's like smoking. Every cigarette is estimated to take 5 minutes off your life. Well, every sugary portion you consume reduces the quality of life you do experience. Sugar fuels chronic inflammation, which is a driving force behind almost every major disease. Dementia, heart disease, cancer, arthritis, and joint pain. Every teaspoon of sugar adds fuel to the fire. Sugar also lowers brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, a protein essential for brain health. BDNF helps your brain grow new neurons and strengthen memory connections. Low levels are directly linked to Alzheimer's, depression, and cognitive decline. Sugar? It slams the brakes on BDNF production, choking off your brain's ability to repair itself. If you struggle with brain fog, memory lapses, or trouble focusing, sugar could be robbing your brain of the very tools it needs to function. Now, everyone knows that candy and soda aren't ideal, but sugar also hides in healthy foods that you never expect. Flavored yogurts often pack in more sugar than ice cream. Granola bars may be marketed as wholesome, but they tend to be filled with sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Likewise, pasta sauces, salad dressings, and other processed foods tend to be packed with hidden sugars. Instead of these hidden sugar bombs, make smarter swaps. Use cinnamon, vanilla extract, or fresh berries for natural flavor. Read ingredient labels carefully. Look for hidden sugars like dextrose, maltose, rice syrup, or high fructose corn syrup, and avoid low-fat or fat-free products. You can learn more about the low-fat lie in our other videos. If you crave something sweet, 85% dark chocolate or a handful of berries are a far better choice. And if you think artificial sweeteners are a safe alternative, think again. One common sweetener has been linked to a 300% increased risk of Alzheimer's. It's marketed as a healthy, zero-calorie option. But inside your body, it's anything but. At number 4, artificial sweeteners are tricking your brain, and not in a good way. Cutting back on sugar? Smart move. But if you've swapped it for artificial sweeteners, you might have just traded one problem for another. Artificial sweeteners aren't the healthy alternative they're made out to be. In fact, some of them may be even worse for your brain. A 2017 study, published in Stroke, followed nearly 3,000 people, and what they found was terrifying. People who drank at least one artificially sweetening beverage per day had a 300% higher risk of Alzheimer's disease. But that's not all. They also had twice the risk of ischemic stroke, where a blood clot or blockage cuts off circulation to the brain. And strokes don't just kill you, they can leave you trapped in your own body, unable to speak, unable to move, completely aware of everything happening but powerless to respond. So while artificial sweeteners might save you a few calories today, they could be stealing years off your cognitive future down the road. Now, not all artificial sweeteners are the same. Some are worse than others. Aspartame, one of the most controversial. It contains phenylalanine, which can cross the blood-brain barrier, a protective shield designed to keep toxins out of your brain. Once inside, phenylalanine interferes with neurotransmitter function, leading to brain fog, mood swings, and memory issues. A 2014 study found that people who consumed high levels of aspartame had worse cognitive performance, higher levels of anxiety, and increased irritability. But aspartame isn't the only one to watch out for. Acesulfame K, also known as ACE-K, has been shown to disrupt brain function by altering neurometabolic activity. Sorbitol, it decreases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the same crucial brain protein that sugar shuts down. And erythritol, it hasn't been directly linked to dementia yet, but a 2023 study found it doubles the risk of heart attack and stroke. So if you're thinking, well, at least diet soda is better than regular soda, think again. Artificial sweeteners don't just affect your brain, they mess with your metabolism by confusing your body's natural hunger signals. Your brain expects real sugar when you eat something sweet, but when no actual glucose arrives, it triggers cravings, pushing you to eat more overall. This is why studies show that people who drink diet soda often end up gaining more weight, not less. If you want to quit sugar, artificial sweeteners aren't the answer. So what should you do instead? Stick to natural sweeteners like stevia or monk fruit in moderation. Or better yet, retrain your taste buds. The less sugar you eat, the less you crave it. And next up, we're talking about something that millions of people drink every single night. Alcohol. A glass of wine with dinner, a beer with friends, a nightcap before bed. People say it's just one drink, no big deal, right? Well, not quite. Research shows that even moderate alcohol consumption shrinks your brain. A 2022 study published in Nature Communications looked at over 36,000 brain scans and found that just one drink per day was linked to faster brain aging, with visible reductions in grey matter and white matter volume. And the more you drink, the worse it gets. At 2 drinks per day, the brain shrinkage accelerates, aging your brain by the equivalent of 2 extra years. At 4 drinks per day, the damage is closer to 10 years of extra aging. But this isn't just about memory loss decades down the line. Brain shrinkage impacts decision-making, reaction time, and emotional regulation, long before dementia sets in. Alcohol also destroys sleep. Sure, it might help you fall asleep faster, but it blocks deep REM sleep, the stage where your brain processes memories and clears out toxins. So even if you slept through the night, your brain woke up exhausted. This is why regular drinkers often feel foggy, sluggish, or forgetful, even on the days they don't drink. Now, does this mean you need to quit alcohol completely? Not necessarily, but if you're drinking daily, or even just a few times a week, it's worth reassessing. Try cutting back and watch what happens. Better sleep, clearer thinking, more energy. And most importantly, a younger, healthier brain. Next up, we're talking about something you can't see or taste, but it's lurking in your food every single day. And it's been linked to a 34% higher risk of dementia. At number 2, pesticides poison your brain. You can't see them, you can't taste them, but if you're eating conventional produce, grains, or processed foods, you're consuming brain-damaging pesticides every single day. A 2016 study found that pesticide exposure increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease by 34%. How? Pesticides are neurotoxins designed to destroy the nervous systems of insects. But they don't just stop at bugs. Once inside your body, they damage neurons, trigger chronic inflammation, and impair your brain's ability to repair itself. One of the worst offenders? Glyphosate. Glyphosate has been found in over 80% of people tested. It's been linked to gut microbiome damage, hormone disruption, and increased levels of amyloid beta plaques, one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. And it's not just glyphosate. Organophosphates, another common pesticide, are so toxic that some scientists believe they should be banned entirely. So what can you do? The Environmental Working Group releases a dirty dozen list every year. According to recent testing, the most pesticide-contaminated foods include strawberries, spinach, kale, grapes, peaches, pears, nectarines, apples, green beans, peppers, cherries, and blueberries. If nothing else, buy organic versions of these foods. And for everything else, rinse, soak, or peel your produce whenever possible. But before we get to that, is this useful? If so, please click the like button. If you haven't already, click subscribe and turn notifications on to ensure you see our future videos. Okay, at number 1 we have excess salt intake. Salt is controversial. Your body needs it. Without enough salt, your nerves, muscles, and even your brain can't function properly. But too much? That's when things start to go very, very wrong. A 2022 study showed that too much salt weakens the blood-brain barrier, allowing toxins and inflammatory compounds to seep into your brain. But here's the thing, it's not the salt in your home-cooked meals that's the real problem. It's ultra-processed foods that flood your system with excessive sodium. Canned soups, frozen meals, fast food, and processed meats. Some of these pack over 1,500 milligrams of sodium per serving, more than half your daily limit. Instead of worrying about a pinch of salt on your home-cooked food, cut back on processed foods. Now, keeping your heart and arteries healthy is one of the best steps you can take to prevent dementia. So next, watch our video on the top 10 superfoods that can heal your heart.